Welcome, my 308 subscribers, everyone who hasn't given up on AEW and is reaping the rewards right now. New year, new era, new AEW. This is my review of AEW Dynamite for the January 11th show. Let's begin. So apparently AEW drew 8,000 fans or so. That's from an article 2 days ago. I'm not sure about how many actually watched the show. It might be around that range, around that figure, excuse me. But that's a really good attendance, despite drawing almost 14,000 last time. But yeah, we'll know. It might be 8, it might be 10. Either way, it drew more than Raw. Just like last week, Dynamite drew more than Raw and SmackDown last week. But that's separately. So we start off the show with Adam Hangman Page and Jon Moxley in what looks like match number 2 in a best of 3 series. And yeah, with the ending of this match, it does look like there's gonna be a third. We linger on them for a while. They play up like a concussion storyline with Mox this time, and now it's worked. And then maybe after that, maybe at Revolution we'll get the match, a Mox heel turn, or Mox just goes on vacation. Man deserves it. So yeah, we have like a main event paced epic match to start the show. In a show with maybe like a total of 3 matches that can fit that description. Just think about it. The first match is a match between 2 former world champions. And as I predicted, how good this match would be would totally depend on Hangman Page. You could put him there with anyone, especially the slow and plodding dudes like Moxley, and he can get a great match out of it. He will be responsible for the pace. He's going to be the one who's going to be responsible for keeping us awake. And as for Mox, Mox is responsible for the intensity, the storytelling of the match. He can do struggles well, but if it's like too plodding and slow, just like his match against, I think that's Brody King and others, I forgot. But dude had a stretch of just like sleep-inducing matches. Real slow, real bad. And for the tag team ones, Claudio, God bless that man, carried Mox through it all. So, talk about neck hunters in Naito and Ibushi. These guys are the headhunters. They try to concuss each other, since that's the storyline. And one of them manages to succeed after, apparently. That's the story they're telling. One of these guys will either turn heel, or like just disappear for a while, cool down, give spots to the other people backstage. Probably House of Black. They need the most time. And Mox not taking too much will be good for like anyone who they put on TV after him. And I think I like this match more than the match with Danielson and Paige because there's not really much naps taken here, not much rest holds. The moves make sense and then they mesh with the move that comes after that. We had some nice head sells by Paige, as well as him hulking up. We get storytelling moments where they go for the same spot that knocked Paige out, but now successfully. And yes, I like the foaming in the mouth sell that Paige does. It's just like the one with Simon Gotch and Noah, but that one like took him out. And yeah, just like more foaming in the mouth, please. This was very, very fighting spirit. Mox would love it, but I think he hates Paige too much to like notice that. So yeah, for the finish, we get a buckshot after a strike battle, and then Paige wins the match 1-2-3. So for the top spots of the match, so honorable mention are the strike battles, the headbutts. They went for the grand story that they were trying to tell. Number 3 is the lariat that took Paige out, that's now done successfully. Number 2 is the Orihara moonsault near the start. And then number 1 is like the buckshot countered to a Death Rider. So my rating for this is like a pay-per-view undercard semi-main event. Yeah, it's that close to being pay-per-view main event, but they don't go for enough, even if they meshed really well. Like, they don't botch, there was a great story told, moves meshed well with each other, they don't plod, like I said, but they don't do enough to, like, have it be, like, a main event. Like Kenny versus Ospreay, or like the main event for tonight. So yeah, post-match, the camera lingers on Mox and Paige. This time, Mox is out. Doc Samson enters and then, like, evaluates him for a concussion. And I guess that's the storyline going forward, expecting a match at Revolution where either someone turns heel or Mox just takes his vacation. So after this is the big surprise of the night, and I think is segment of the night as well, because it is Adam Cole baby's return. Like, it's set up as like an interview segment. I thought of MJF because Tony like buries his guest to start. I really thought it was gonna be MJF because him and Tony have this like rivalry of sorts. Tony's been shitting on MJF a lot, but instead it's another one of Tony's rivals. And like a rivalry for a different reason. It's an odd dynamic between these three, but it's Adam Cole baby. This dude cut the most, I think, generic babyface promo ever. But then he turns it into a medical interview, describes everything he experienced with a concussion. But what makes this the best segment of the night is not only that Adam Cole is returning as a babyface. I don't think I've ever seen him as a babyface before. But what makes this awesome is that line at the end. Very, very meme moment. Like, it's straight out of like that meme where call an ambulance but not for me. He did that by like teasing bad news. It went something like, now for the bad news but not for me. Something like that. Dude faked out the entire crowd, the entire TV audience of like 900,000 people, everyone on Fight, including myself, that he was gonna retire, but instead it's bad news for the locker room. Beautifully executed by Cole. Glad he's back. And I think because of his size, I think he'll work better as the underdog babyface. But yeah, seriously though, glad to see Adam Cole back. Hopefully he gets a better second run. Okay, so after this is a short, acclaimed promo. Nothing relevant story-wise. It's just like a fun thing where they're going to be included in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Yeah, just a fun thing, very LA thing, as they're moving from feud to next feud. That actually characterizes like a lot of segments here, in intent as well as the length, or each of them like separately. But looking at the structure of the card, with all of these like lengthy matches, there was no way the Acclaim could be on TV tonight, unlike live in the ring. So after this is the Lee Moriarty and Big Bill versus Jungle Boy and Hook, or Jungle Hook. That name is so cringe. But this was the feud that I was pretty cold on. I didn't want to see Hook dominate anyone, and thankfully he didn't dominate Big Bill. He got pretty much like overpowered when it was them, but Hook didn't really struggle much as I wanted. He does show that he's a good technical wrestler, and Big Bill shows that he can still go. He's still very mobile, as well as like very in-ring charismatic. Dude can talk your ear off. But I don't like that Jungle Hook won like right away. They could have prolonged this feud, or on second thought, thankfully it ended, but have Hook struggle. Like, have Big Bill like destroy people. Book him stronger, have him like destroy Hook. I mean, the excuse is there to have Hook and Jungle Boy lose the first time. They don't have the chemistry. Hook doesn't tag much. And you know, Big Bill is big. So having Hook lose here like could do him no damage. But they won, and I guess the win is not that offensive since Jungle Boy got the submission win on Lee, and we got the spot that we all wanted. It wasn't easy, like story-wise, for Hook to be able to do this. It took 3 attempts, but like have more of a fight. Like, have Hook struggle more than this, since he's facing off against like a 7-foot tall dude and you can't teach that. Have Hook struggle. So for the finish, we finally get the spot where Hook T-bones Big Bill after some help from Jungle Boy. So after being launched out, Bill never comes back. He's pretty much spooked out, and Jungle Boy snare traps Lee for the win. For the top 3 spots, number 3 is the powerbomb by Jungle Boy. Number 2 is the boot followed by the diving knee to Jungle Boy's head. And as for number 1, of course, it's the spot. So yeah, match was really fun. This is TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard match. Have Hook struggle, for the love of God. So thankfully, this feud is over. Big Bill can do other things. But honestly, you move Jungle Boy from a tag team to a singles rivalry with his tag team partner. and then to another tag team. And yeah, the match is fun, but again, lateral move doesn't make much of a difference. Not very memorable feud. Okay, so after this is the Robert Jewell guy, Paul Walter Hauser, having something in a box and teasing it for Rampage. So this is going to be a comedy segment. And yeah, it's very suited for Rampage. It's a celebrity coming in to do something fun with Danhausen, but his encounter with Danhausen not very good. It's just missing something. Needed more rehearsals, didn't sound like they were actually having a conversation for a while, and the joke just didn't land that hard. And then we also get an update about the best friends, and it doesn't look like there's tension, so that's pretty much all that it is. Not very important segment. But after this is Takeshita versus Danielson, and this is maybe the more controversial segment of the night. It starts off with a segment, just a promo by MJF towards the LA fans, as well as Takeshita. And Konosuke already has this uphill battle, because in order to succeed in American wrestling, you need to have the charisma, the personality, the stage presence in order to be successful. It's not only the in-ring work. You need to be at least competent on the mic and how you look. And as of now, even though I think Konosuke is really good, he was match of the year for me. Him and Higuchi. He's still pretty vanilla. He's a charisma vacuum for now. So I was excited for MJF's appearance. He cut a promo on Takeshita. It starts off just as a normal MJF burial, but then it gets pretty racist. I'm okay with the Konnichiwa as well as making fun of Konosuke Takeshita's name, but when it got to the "we only speak American" part, it got a bit uncomfortable. There's a risk of MJF being cancelled, but thankfully they end it. I think MJF should have been knocked the fuck out. And if this ended here, this would have been more emphasized. This would have been a lot more poorly received. But thankfully MJF returns to what he does best, and that's bury the crowd. So he buried... Who does he bury? Yeah. We have Ken Jeong from the Community as well as The Hangover, and he gets buried by MJF. His Dr. Ken show that got cancelled was made fun of. And it's amazing how Dr. Ken did not break character. Because he could have shat all over this whole promo here. If this guy was sufficiently offended, as an Asian, and as an Asian myself, I would have buried this, but no. I don't think it's too racist that one should be called out for it. Because cancellation is never the answer. Unless you kill someone. There's also Freddie Prinze Jr., who MJF calls a Scooby-Dooby douchebag. And this is line of the night. And yeah, just based on this, MJF is capable of drawing heat by being clever. He doesn't need to go for a racist angle. That's not gonna help the company. If MJF gets cancelled as AEW champion, it's gonna be worse than Marty, than Tessa, than any other cancellation anywhere in any wrestling company. It's gonna have a bigger impact than anything that came before. That's your future. Out the window. Just for cheap heat. So after this, Danielson comes out. MJF looks a lot weaker because he just runs away. This guy does a sprint as Danielson makes his way in the ring. This is the only time I've seen MJF this weak. I think he'll look stronger as the title reign goes on, because this was a bad look for a champion, even if he's a cowardly heel champion. But yeah, the match starts and it's the epic that we're promised. For the first 10 minutes, it has the stiff strike battles, the sick Konosuke spots that we get, and even some great submission sequences. There are no storytelling moments comparable to what we had with Iguchi when he headbutted a post. Nothing really like that. This was pretty much a show stealer type match. But then the botch happens. They start losing it for the next couple of moves. Yeah, because after that botch, Danielson sells his leg. Konosuke catches a kick and then straight does like a brain buster outside. Like this is sick. But at least like Karate Kid his leg, like set him up for the brain buster first, instead of like leg catch and then okay, I'll do the brain buster on you. So the botch was very visible and it looked really dangerous because Danielson goes for his like apron knee where he runs the apron, jumps off and like knees Takeshita, but instead he like goes for a Hurricane Rana or a Poison Rana, but Konosuke catches him in like an electric chair position and then drops him near the guardrail. And it doesn't look like Danielson's injured. They finished the match. He doesn't look like he was out of it by the end. So I guess they dodged a bullet here, but it was like pretty dangerous. Something could have happened here and dude is the #1 contender for the title. But thankfully these guys like calmed down, reset after like a long label lock. Like from this moment on, even if the whole match is pretty much the bomb phase, this is like climax part right here. So as for the top 3 spots of the match, spot number 3 is the strike battle with the counter lariat. Number 2, it's the clothesline from the top of the turnbuckle. It didn't look as good here as with the match with Paige, or Jay Lethal sold it the best. But it was alright. Impressive spot, just don't do it every match. And as for the #1 spot of the match, it's the Dude Buster to the rolling German suplex. And so the finish is a Busaiku knee. Danielson stomps, STF, Konosuke like faints right away. He's put to sleep, so Danielson wins. So post-match, they shake hands. Danielson shows Konosuke respect, but I think this is to like alleviate some of the damage that MJF did a while ago. And it didn't fully work, but it put over Takeshita so much. And now I think it's pretty much guaranteed that Konosuke is going to beat MJF at least once in the future. So yeah, despite this, it's still a pay-per-view undercard match, very epic. It had multiple "this is awesome" chants, but they don't mesh well yet. Needs more work. And that botch, terrible. But overall, fun match. That again is pay-per-view undercard in quality. So after this is Juice Robinson's promo. He cuts it in his usual Juice way, with that new personality he has. The like crazy, a lot more Americanized Juice. A very old school person. It's like a very 80s sort of way of talking, and it's alright. He challenges Darby Allin to a match for the TNT Championship on Rampage. He's probably gonna lose again, and just why? You could have like anyone else who's like better than Juice wrestle Darby. You could have a rematch with Samoa Joe, but yeah, we'll see what happens here. It's Darby in a match, so it's probably gonna be at least pretty cool to watch Darby do the crazy spots. So after this is Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter against Saraya and Toni Storm. So a hot crowd is just what this needed. I love the structure of this match. At the start, the crowd is 100% in. Saraya was on fire for this match. I think she got it back. She moved a lot better here than in the pay-per-view. Jamie Hayter is Jamie Hayter, of course. An automatic cheer. Toni Storm wasn't bad in the match. Britt was also alright. But I think her and Saraya got tired by the end, and they looked a little bit more sloppy. Britt and Jamie outshine the babyfaces. They're so charismatic in the ring. But even with this, they lose the crowd in the middle. They try to get it back with some cool moves, even like an avalanche air raid siren, air raid crash, whatever you call it. But they get the crowd back after a strike battle. So I only have 2 spots of the match. Number 2 is the German suplex strong zero combination, and then number 1 is the air raid crash from the top. And as for the finish was very awkward since Hikaru Shida throws her kendo stick in the middle of the ring, aimlessly. But then she feigns dismay, like she didn't know what she just did. She's used to be a babyface so much that even she can't believe it. Are we the baddies? Shida, you just threw your kendo stick at both women who were down. I think there could have been a better time to throw this in. Just to be a lot more sneaky. Just to sabotage the team covertly. But no, they didn't do that here. It was very clear that she was trying to fuck Toni Storm over because she's jelly, and then she just can't believe she turns heel. So yeah, I like that she can't believe she turned heel, but this was a poorly executed ending. But I think the match is pretty good. It's still like a TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard match. If you just add crowd noise, like this match was really good. The problem is you just lost the crowd. They also didn't do enough to get a higher score than this, and that was a bad ending. It could have been thrown in there better. That like would have made much more sense for Shida to be able to like believably feign ignorance or like feign guilt. So yeah, after this is the Eddie Kingston and Ortiz promo, and not really much happens. There is dissension between the two. I'm predicting House of Black just to kick their ass. But I wish Ortiz doesn't turn heel on Eddie. He does not fit the House of Black. And what the hell is he gonna do without Eddie Kingston? He's a tag wrestler all the way, and you don't even have Santana there. He's still out, or maybe like out of the company. No one knows. But yeah, just move Eddie Kingston on to another program, move Ortiz out, like give House of Black their win, give them their heat, and then move them on against the Elite, where they'll beat the Elite. Or you know what, the idea that I had that they'll win individual belts. Buddy goes for All Atlantic, and then Malachi and Brody King goes for tags. Or, you know, like just like any permutation. Malachi goes for TNT, Buddy and Brody go for tags. Just do something with them. They better be on Rampage, by the way. They are slowly cooling back down as they're not on TV every week. And so after this is the JAS promo, and honestly I could have done without this. It's just a way to get Chris Jericho on screen, and yeah, I don't like the feud with Action Andretti. Ricky Starks is enough. The feud was successfully prolonged. You could have like just had Ricky Starks be out and sell the injury for like another week, since that looked pretty damn devastating. But yeah, JAS, like they work well together. They all cut promos. Jericho doesn't do like a racist thing to Tay Mello, unlike what MJF did a while ago. He like runs with the I am the street fight. He hypes up his faction, and they are so over. Cool Hand Ange, fire on the mic. Daddy Magic makes the nipples hard on the mic. It was really good. They could have just like left, and then that would have been it. They could have declared victory on Ricky Starks, but Starks and fucking Action Andretti had to come out. And Starks just wasn't himself today. I mean, it was a bit like juvenile. Like the way he trashes Jericho and his whole group is just like so juvenile. It went along the lines of, you stupid poopy head idiot butthole. Yeah, it went something like that. I might be paraphrasing, but it wasn't clever at all. Like Jake Hager had a better promo. Starks also like mocked Hager's lisp, but he didn't even do it well. And yeah, it wasn't that good. Not very clever from Starks, but JAS really shined. And as for Andretti, dude had to resort to like Dan Lambert-esque stuff. Like, your girl is a whore, she touched these nuts and stuff. Yeah, that was bad shit too. Starks and Andretti ruined this segment. I would have honestly had House of Black here. Attack anyone. Or like Mercedes Moné make a debut. Or like just anything else. Just not fucking Andretti. And Ricky Starks being juvenile. Half of this was really good. Half of this, not very much. So after this is the main event. It is for the Trios Championship. It's Death Triangle versus the Elite. Escalera de la Muerte. Did I roll those R's enough? Yeah, we rolled the R's too here, from where I'm from. And what can I really say about this match that we didn't expect? This is a spot fest. It's Escalera de la Muerte. We have two of the most athletic teams in the entire company. Like, I think they would have an allergic reaction if they didn't do crazy spots against each other. And it's the last match of the series that should not have been booked this long. But they went ahead and then gave us a fucking show. I might have like an entire segment of the review just like mentioning out spots. But that's like what this match showcased. And we already had storytelling matches throughout the card. But yeah, this started off with them just like setting up the stage, setting up the hazards, bringing in ladders, and they give us like a show stealer without any botches. Bodies, wood chips, and DNA get splattered around the place. We get some fun interferences with the managers, but it works here since you have Brandon Cutler. And it's like very fast, and it also makes sense because, like, as Alex Abrantes, why wouldn't you try to help your boys and like push off a ladder? It's no DQ, so why not? Moves are like spaced too close to each other, like the big moves. They don't flow as well as Mox versus Paige, but just the stuff they did here like overrides some of that. Like as a kid, I love like the high flying stuff. I don't think like me or like any of my friends who watched wrestling back then like really got into the story much. Like we hated the lying around, the slow plodding quality of like some of the matches back then. Like the only thing that made those like barely entertaining was the fact that we thought wrestling was real back then. And now as an adult, I can appreciate the stories. Sometimes you just gotta have fun. And this match was far from a storyteller. But honestly, we've had storytellers for like 4 other matches in the show. So now let's get to the part where I just list down like my top spots. So honorable mentions are the Fear Factor to the ladder, the Falcon Arrow to the floor, the 450 to the table on Penta, the triple Northern Light suplexes by Matt Jackson. And that's it for honorable mentions. As for the top 3, it's the Avalanche Hurricane Rana to Nick Jackson, where he lands like ass or glute first to the ladder. It looked painful. Number 2 is the Terminator dive to the table on nothing. And as for the number 1 spot, it's the One Winged Angel that sets up the finish by Kenny to Phoenix from like the crossed ladder all the way to the floor. Finish is a bit silly. I think this is the silliest part of the match because Kenny just climbs up the ladder too slowly. A bit too dramatic here with no one chasing him. But yeah, he claims one of the titles for the win. Pay-per-view main event. This was awesome and it saved such a terribly booked best of 7. If this was set up better, this would have been well received. This would have been like 20 minutes. But yeah, it is what it is. Pay-per-view main event. So yeah, where do they go from here? I think they're gonna get great matches out of the different trios that we have in AEW. Maybe not in proper feuds, we'll see. But what I know is that House of Black are gonna take it from them. I think House of Black is above that. But a feud between the factions will be nice. So this was a great Dynamite, very consistent in the ring. Like in the ring, we have like 3 bangers, like 3 match of the year contenders as of now. They're gonna get in the top 10, but not, or like they don't sniff Ospreay versus Omega. Like not even close. Or Kiyomiya versus Keno. So yeah, very high quality in the ring. And then on like the stick, on the segment part, the non-wrestling segments, Adam Cole's return is the best segment. MJF's segment could have been, but it just had to be like borderline racist. He could have stopped at Konnichiwa and the Take a Shita. But yeah, these are my match rankings. I need to leave now to go to somewhere. I hope you enjoyed the review. Like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. Share if you don't know me. Hit that bell notification for future videos. And please, watch my shit.